Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite, and we are back in the video, guys. I know I'm excited because ranked play finally resets this weekend, thank goodness. And they're finally allowing full parties that are actually supported by the game instead of having to actually glitch the game or whatnot to get into full parties. So I mean, it should be a lot better this weekend. I'm excited and looking forward to that. I've definitely be playing. I might stream. I actually streamed a few days ago. I wasn't playing Call of Duty though, so I didn't advertise it too much. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys will know when I'm streaming. And of course, you can follow me on Twitch. Either way, I want to stream more in the future. And when we start doing the 8s lobbies with the Discord chat, and with the Discord getting launched soon, so watch out for that. But once we start doing 8s lobbies with subs, we'll be streaming a lot of that. So be on the lookout. But nonetheless, guys, today we're doing Learn from the Pros on London Docks. We're doing the TK versus Optic match from the LAN League just last week, which was a sick match. If you guys didn't get a chance to see it, TK on London Docks got outslayed just massively the whole game. Formal dropped nearly a 50 bomb, and TK only lost by a few points. And so for TK to be able to do that and use the garbage time to their advantage, it was really interesting, and I'm excited to dig through this one. Although we are going to change up the format a little bit in this one, where we're not going to go through the whole match, where instead we're going to pick out certain points in the match, really highlight each one of the different hills, how to use those hills, and manipulate those spawns when it comes to certain hills. So that's what we're going to focus on and talk about in this match, and really observe how Optic and TK make that happen. So off the bat, Optic's worry is how do we get the fire spawn. Obviously they spawned in beer, which isn't the ideal spawn because the next hard point is back sandbags, which is over in fire spawns. You know, Optic has to figure out how do we hold this mid hill, and then how do we flip the spawns to our advantage upcoming on the next hill. So that's what we have to watch for at the beginning here. Sometimes what some teams really struggle to do is honestly they struggle and they get too focused on spawns where they don't focus enough on the hill pressure at the beginning of the games. I don't blame you at the beginning if you're trying to push for those spawns, but the issue is if it's not working right off the bat, change your focus, put some pressure on the middle hill, and then work towards the spawns. Obviously that gate is so important on this middle hill to control from lights and pipe side into mid. You want to make sure when you're working that middle statue that you're always keeping focus on that gate, making sure you have somebody watch it, whether or not it's from pipes or if it's from somewhere else depending on what spawn you're at. You want to make sure you control that side of the map as you move towards the upcoming hill at Sandbags. So I want to focus on how Optic right at the beginning here is able to flip the spawns and take advantage of the kills that they get. And I think the best teams are always the best at taking advantage of the time and space that they have after they get a few kills. So right after they take control of mid here, as you guys see, you can see Karma move into fire and set up to get a pick. And so you can see the setup that Optic has right now, where they have one on dockside stairs, then they have one in hill, they have one in fire, and they have one at the truck in front of pipes. That setup right here actually spawns TK out, which is honestly shocking. That's how that works. After Karma gets his kill, they're able to push forward. They realize that spawns have flipped, and they do a fantastic job of setting up because of those spawn flips. So like I said, they take advantage of those initial kills that they get on the hill. They push forward into fire. They set up in front of pipes and on the stairs in front of beer, which actually spawns TK out. There may not be a map that's more important to understand the spawns on than on London Docks, because the spawns can get absolutely crazy and it can feel like people are just spawning all over the place. And so there needs to be a lot of communication with your teammates about where they're spawning and a full team understanding of where they might be spawning. And we're going to see that later as we get into the beer hills and as we get into the crane hills. And those two hills really throw a wrench into what the spawns do and how they act. So as we move from the middle hill to the sandbag hill, you can see how Optic decides to set up. Interestingly enough, Scump gets really aggressive, pushes into pipes towards tunnel area, and he's really camping that out, trying to get some picks, which is a little bit different than the average setup from a team. Obviously, usually you're not that aggressive, because you'll see later that it kind of bites them in the back because they lose some of these gunfights in fire, and so they end up spawning out because of Scump's aggressiveness. So we're going to watch and see how that plays out, but pay attention to Optic's setup and as they use their callouts from backfire to change their setups and how they address the hills.
That was the left side. That was more because TK had a challenge at the back box. They had already killed him there, so there was already pressure on that side. He shouldn't have spawned on that back side of the map. So you can make an argument either way, but there it's mainly due to the part that TK did a great job of at least picking the first anchor off that power position, giving them a chance now to push into this hill. Crim should be dead momentarily as Kenny's there with the submachine gun.
And now this next hard point's going to be the interesting one from TK. I mean, that is where in the grand final they destroyed LG.
Yeah,
absolutely destroyed them. They made.
So now, as you guys can see, Optic got a little bit too aggressive there, spawned out. They were able to recover, trade those kills at gate, and then push towards hill, get a few more seconds before they had to rotate over to docks. So obviously with the Docks Hardpoint, I think as we all know, mid is key. If you can control the statue, if you can have a dominant AR on the top statue, it's going to give you a huge advantage going into controlling docks. Keep a focus on the minimap during this and how important mid plays into controlling the docks. And you can see how players will push through beer, push through different ways onto the stairs and whatnot to try to get a different angle on the guys in mid to pick them off, rotate, and change those things. So pay attention to that as we watch Optic really play a great hill in docks.
Another hill where they set up and it pays off, and that's what Optic gaming fans want to see. Karma said on Twitter, you know, they just did not rotate enough in New Orleans. Now they're making adjustments. 48-42 the score. Kenny top middle tries to challenge Formal, and yeah, you'll have to back down from him, pal.
And it wasn't just not rotating. Sometimes it was like, let's say Formal would rotate first. It's almost like he would get anxious and he'd want to go push out more and find a kill and end up punishing him.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of patience, a little bit of discipline. They're looking good right now, though.
Karma was on a 5 streak, did finally fall. But either way, every player on Optic positive. We saw the same thing in map 1, Maven, when Optic took that one.
Well, we've seen what's going right for Optic, at least here early. Let's hop over. Can we go to maybe Chino right now? He's on a 2 streak, and I want to see what he's getting done in the hard point. Yeah, everybody's sitting negative right now for Team Caliber. I kind of want to see it from their angle a little bit, just see what's going wrong.
Even though we're not going to cover it directly because I wanted to make this video a little bit shorter about learn from the pros than normal, but the power of contesting on the docks hill is extremely important to recognize. And sometimes you'll have these splits where you're fighting in mid, you're kind of fighting in the street, and then you have a little bit of control of each one of your sides of the dock where you're just kind of contesting it. And a team that understands that and understands that that's okay to do and is comfortable contesting is extremely valuable. And in some situations, especially at the end of this hill, sometimes it's just more important to contest it than to try to invest the time to get the hill, because you can set up for that beer flank, you can set up to control the beer spawns, and then hopefully run that next hill. Now we can talk about the spawns again, because this beer hill right here in this game is so messy and so just absolutely discombobulated with spawning all over the place. So again, pay attention to the minimap. Watch where Optic and Envy just keep spawning out. They spawn each other out constantly because they're both trying to rotate for the spawn. So they're both rotating into back beer, trying to get these spawns, and just it continually keeps flipping where they're spawning. And that's what can get extremely confusing for newer players, is understanding that that's kind of natural and that's supposed to happen on this hill. And I know personally that that's thrown me off a lot when we're just playing. And I'm like, dude, we're spawning docks. Oh, now we're spawning tunnel. What? Now we're spawning bus. And sometimes it's tough to follow, but if you understand, if you're spawning here, that means they're spawning here. If you're spawning here, they're spawning here. Like, that can generally help you a lot. So again, pay attention to the minimap to understand where these spawns are coming from and what causes these spawns.
Karma. He will get the back spawn, so this is the kind of chance now for TK to begin to fight back in this game. They're only down by 9. Oh, but as I say that, it's a 2-piece nade kill from Karma.
There's still one here, though. That's Theory.
Oh, Karma's snapping right now.
Karma right now, 13-6. 3 in a row, and he's sort of been like, almost like we talk about Theory at times. Theory will have some slow games, and when Theory is playing very well and finding kills, they start to blow people out.
Still, everything being considered, it's only an 8-point game right now.
Right,
it's the most TK thing ever.
Yeah, what was the first game? The total, I can't remember the total outslay, but...
It's a 17 kill difference right now between Optic Gaming and TK are going to have the lead going into the next hill.
So you transition from beer to Crane, and Crane honestly is one of the most hectic hills that isn't a middle hill in the game, where it comes to, like, it's very similar to the cabin hill on Ardennes Forest, where there's a lot of smokes, there's a lot of nades. Everybody kind of understands where everybody else is. Like, there isn't too many options where people can come from because it's tucked in the corner, and so you're just chucking nades, you're chucking smokes, you're chucking stuns, you're trying to control fire. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing when it comes to the Crane hill, is getting into fire, understanding, because if you can control fire, whatever team's controlling fire, you can then pinpoint where they're spawning. If you're where Optic is right now, where you're running from docks towards the hill, if you're in fire, you generally will know that they're coming from that bus side, they're coming from tunnel side, they're coming from light side of the map, either rotating through mid or rotating through spawn. And so that means that, you know, it gives you a little bit of an idea of where they're coming from. It helps you be more predictive. All you have to do is watch the flank, watch front fire, and then watch the Crane, and you'll be in good shape. So the fire is so important to understand where they're coming from. And again, just pay attention to that when you're watching. Just pay attention to the mini map and what happens with these spawns when you control fire. So this is one of the last things I really want to cover for this match, and I think we can talk about more of it in another video soon. One thing that I've mentioned in the past, but you can see here really well, as you guys can see, Optic wipes the board here. All 4 TK members are down, and what Optic does, they're not content with their positioning. What they do is they push forward. They conquer some of that space. They really try to take advantage of the kills and move forward on the map, get some positioning, get themselves into a place where the TK might not expect it, and it just, it gives you some leeway for when you die, you get a better spawn off the bat. Kill them, move forward a little bit, and then you're going to get better spawns if they end up killing you in the future. So let's watch this again. Watch how Optic just completely wipes TK and then moves forward to take advantage of that time.
Spawn pressure. I think it's just a testament to the amount of slang that they've shown up with so far on this map.
That's certainly true. Over the 100-point mark first will be Optic Gaming. And now into our second set of rotations. The kill feed very, very green right now. Crims found a couple of kills in a row.
So you guys can see there, Optic, even though they didn't capitalize necessarily on those kills, they had to move forward, and that's the goal they were trying to do there, is once they get all those kills, they move forward, take a little bit more space, get into beer a little bit, you know, force some bad spawns, then back up for the rotation. And that's what you're generally trying to do on maps like this. And it's sometimes really tough to do, but those are the things that you have to do to end up winning the games. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, it's a little bit shorter than normal. But anyway, if you guys did, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Share it if you guys really enjoy it. I really means a lot. I love this long term, and I can't do it without you guys. But as always, guys, I'm your boy, SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm smoothly, and everything basically went to plan. Stayed on schedule for the most part. And so, honestly, it was a great event. Okay, so finally, as you guys all know, TK won the event. And what's crazy about how they won the event is that they had an overall team KD under 1. They had a .9.